All right, let's continue to have a discussion on what's unfolding currently. Let's chat now to Thembisa Fakude, as a Senior Research Fellow at Africa-Asia Dialogue. Thembisa, great to see you again. Thank you very much for joining us. I mean, the visuals that we're seeing on our screens, I guess, across the world, quite startling. And now we've got a response from Iran. The Foreign Ministry statement, which dropped a couple of moments ago, indicating that Iranians have never bowed to foreign aggression, saying this time, too, the response of the Iranian nation will be firm and decisive and will make the aggressors regret their criminal act. This after we heard US President Donald Trump a few moments ago saying that bombs will drop everywhere. This is likely to escalate, isn't it?
It is likely to escalate, but it's also likely to disturb the global economy. Already the airspaces of some of the busiest airports in the world, including Dubai, Qatar and Doha, they're all shut down. So those that were planning to travel using Qatar Airways, for example, or the Emirati Airways can't travel. Saudi Arabia, similar story. And you're also likely to have the Red Sea impacted. The Strait of Hormuz, which is controlled largely by Iran, is likely to shut down, which therefore will result into 20% of the energy resource or supply of the world being disturbed. Houthis in the, that was the Gulf I spoke about earlier, but Houthis in the Red Sea have also indicated that they're going to be supporting Iran. We don't know what that meant or means. So they're also going to be disturbing whatever it is that is likely to go from east to west in the Red Sea, including the Suez Canal. So this is likely to disturb global economy, but importantly, it's also likely to disturb other countries in the region. Already here, we hear of Qatar intercepting rockets, Bahrain, something similar has happened, United Arab Emirates, something similar has happened. So all those countries that host the US military bases are likely to be targeted. Israel is also going to be impacted. So this is going to be a great disturbance to the global economy and the movement of people and goods.
Yeah, but we saw this coming. We've heard the sentiments or remarks that were made by the US president, time and again. So the world should not be acting surprised now when we see all of this unfolding. And perhaps, the impact should, I guess, have been anticipated if it was carried out, if what the US president, Donald Trump, has been threatening for a while now. So we shouldn't be surprised by what we're seeing.
Yeah, so we saw the buildup of the military presence in the Gulf, but also with the launch of the Board of Peace and the discussions that were taking place between the United States and Iran, hosted by Omanis, gave some of us a thought that at least something was going to happen. We thought that Donald Trump was just pulling a bluff on the Iranians to force them to negotiate, because these two major events were important. I mean, the Board of Peace is underwritten and supported by the countries that are currently impacted and who have warned Donald Trump not to attack Iran. So because of those two events, many people felt that this was going to de-escalate. But of course, the last visit of Benjamin Netanyahu to the White House, I think, went on to seal the deal on the United States and Israel to go ahead with the attack of Iran.
And I mean, a statement by the United Nations, I think it was just a couple of days ago, where you had the United Nations, welcoming, a resumption of talks. But certainly, how should the world now be responding to what we're literally seeing unfolding? And the escalation that you speak about, not just of the visuals that we're seeing, but the impact that this is likely to have around the world?
Well, the world must condemn this, because these are signs of things to come. You have two warmongers who want to see the world going into a chaotic state by continually bombing and threatening those that disagree with them. We are seeing what they're currently doing in Cuba, for example. The intention is the same. They've done it in Venezuela. So who's next? So there must be a strong condemnation. You can't have one country, at least in support or supported by Israel, going around the world bullying other countries. And even though Iran has shown bona fide in the negotiations, they've been saying time and over again, confirmed by the Omani foreign minister yesterday, that they do not plan or intend having a nuclear bomb or weapon or proliferation thereof.
Yeah.
But still, the United States went ahead. I mean, the statement yesterday from the Omani minister, who all of us thought, foreign minister, all of us thought it was going to prevent Donald Trump from attacking Iran, because it was very clear that Iran said that they're not going to be doing it. In fact, Iran has always said it's open for business, or to business from the United States. It has invited the United States to come and do business and take advantage of the opportunities that are offered by Iran. But of course, the warmonger here, and one who wants to remain relevant and kick the can down the road because of his own problems inside Israel, is Benjamin Netanyahu. The man who was a warmonger, was willing to kill. He went and fled in Gaza, over 70,000 people killed. Now, of course, he wants to take this over to Iran after he has destroyed some installation and civil installations in countries such as Syria and Lebanon. Now he wants to go and do the same in Iran, because he thrives on the state of war. So that is a very troubling and concerning situation that we find ourselves. Countries such as Qatar, for example, United Arab Emirates and Bahrain, that were known to be the safest countries in the world, overnight have become the most dangerous countries on earth. Not long ago, I was listening to some of my colleagues I used to work with in Qatar, in Al Jazeera, who were saying that their phones were blipping because the defense ministry has sent warnings that people must go and stay at home and be under shelters because anything can happen. So Doha, which was the safest city on earth, now is no longer the safest city on earth, just overnight. So this is likely to have a very, very long and severe impact in the people of the region. And I don't see this, by the way, going back to normal. It's not going to be back to normal after the dust settles, after these attacks.
Yeah, and how do we view, I mean, some of the media reports that we had seen about, you know, indirect talks in Oman between a U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East, I think it's Steve Witkoff, as well as, you know, the Foreign Ministry. Were these talks then a farce? Did it look like the United States was trying to get around the table and, you know, find some talks in order to ensure that the tensions that we're now seeing did not escalate to this level? How do we describe what's been happening? Because the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres also had expressed hope that these talks would reduce regional tensions and even prevent a broader crisis, one that we're seeing unfolding right before us now.
Yeah, these talks were a farce, of course. We were first told that they were about the nuclear proliferation and stopping Iran from developing a nuclear weapon. Now we know that it had nothing to do with that. They're all about regime change, because Iran has said not only is it willing to negotiate, but it said that it's not planning to proliferate, build a nuclear weapon. Now we hear Donald Trump telling the Iranians that they must take this opportunity to change regime. He's quite open and blunt about it. Benjamin Netanyahu said something similar. So it's about regime change, and that's what they want to see. That's what Donald Trump is doing around the world, because he wants to secure energy supplies from all of these countries, because the United States has decided to go back and revert back into using oil for its economy and to stimulate its industry. So they are in need at the moment of the oil reserves at a good price and all supplies. So they know, therefore, that if they go and deal a blow or do what they're doing at the moment in Iran, they will secure that. They've already started doing the same in Venezuela. So this is greed of bullies who want to steal people's resources without paying anything for their resources. And they are hoping, of course, that the Iranians are going to rise against their own government and replace it with a friendly government that they want to see leading Iran. And after, they are hoping that they can steal the resources of the Iranians. But I don't think it's going to be that easy for the United States and Israel in Iran, notwithstanding that they've got this very powerful military hardware in the Gulf that is poised at attacking Iran. I think Iran is going to retaliate, and I don't see this war ending anytime soon.
Yeah, and you know, you spoke about some of the airspaces being closed. I'm also monitoring from where I am now. You spoke about those airspaces being closed, Mr. Fakude. Is this due to some of the reports that I'm seeing, apparent explosions in Abu Dhabi and Dubai?
Well, number one is that these countries have refused, notwithstanding, of course, that Abu Dhabi, led by Mohammed bin Zayed, is part and parcel of the problem. They support Israel and they support the United States. But they decided that they're not going to allow their airspaces to be used by the United States or Israel to attack Iran. But this is about the danger of the airspace. If any commercial airline was to fly from anywhere to, for example, whether it's Abu Dhabi or Bahrain or Doha, they're likely to be on harm's way. So to be safe, you have to ground all aeroplanes from flying. So the airspace is closed, which means, therefore, that's going to be a chaos in terms of commercial traveling. And many people, by the way, use Doha Airport to connect from one country to the other. So that's going to be chaotic. Those that were planning to fly over this weekend, I think they must make new arrangements, including those that were flying via either Bahrain City or Abu Dhabi or Dubai. So it is because of those that the airspace is closed, and it's mainly because of the safety of the people flying.
Thembisa Fakude, always great speaking to you. Thank you very much indeed for joining us here on SABC News. Developing Story will continue to keep track of these developments around the world now. I think we all should be, with those pictures certainly being beamed around the world, the United States President Donald Trump saying that the United States beginning that major combat operation, those were his words, in Iran after Israel also said it had launched missile attacks against the country. Iran's response now, the Revolutionary Guards, we understand, launching the first large-scale wave of retaliatory missiles and drone strikes towards Israel. Very difficult to say what the impact is at the moment, but you heard from Thembisa Fakude there that we're also getting reports of apparent explosions in different areas as well. We're hearing that the airspace in Abu Dhabi, for example, has already closed off in several other areas as well. This is bound to escalate into an economic crisis, and I say this simply because you've got a number of airports now that have already been closed, and this is just but the immediate impact of what we're seeing unfolding currently. This is a developing story. We'll try to bring you the latest. Of course, a bit earlier on, we only had word from the US President Donald Trump about those airstrikes, but now we're seeing this retaliation from Iran, and basically a statement that had also been released from the Foreign Ministry, and I'll just quote for you just a little bit on what a part of that statement had read there. Towards the end of that statement, the Foreign Ministry indicating that history bears witness that Iranians have never bowed to foreign aggression. That is part of what the statement reads, and we're likely to see an escalation of these tensions in the next couple of hours as Iran does respond. We'll bring you the latest on that as soon as we have more details pertaining to that and perhaps more of what is happening on the ground. But that just some of the visuals of what is taking place as the Middle East tensions escalate at this hour.